Agile has been the methodology of choice for product development teams in recent years, so much that it has almost rendered the waterfall model obsolete. But don't be so quick dismissing the waterfall model. It still has tons of benefits, and that's why the Agile waterfall hybrid model, taking the best from both worlds, might be exactly what you need to implement right now in your organization. Before talking about the hybrid model, let's quickly go through the key differences between Agile and the waterfall model. Let's start with the waterfall model. It's the simple one. Simple because most people know how to use it. Big organizations have been using it for decades now. So the waterfall model is a project management methodology based on a sequential design process. It's sequential. It's in the name waterfall. Water flows from one pool of water to another. And same thing happens for task. You move from a task completed to another task completed to another task completed in a sequential order, same as a waterfall. A waterfall model is best for projects developing products which have a fixed scope. A fixed scope means a scope that is unlikely to change. You know the requirements for scope at the beginning of a project. You know exactly how to develop, how to build this product, and it's very unlikely to change throughout the process. Teams, dependent teams, tons of teams working together. Use the waterfall model. Way better to work with, coordinate things with multiple teams, dependent teams, tons of dependencies when creating your product. A waterfall model might be better. A fixed timeline, a deadline that you need to meet, a deadline that can't be moved, a short deadline. Maybe the waterfall model should be better to use. Next is small projects. Some people think that waterfall is best suited for large projects. Projects that are 10 years, 5 years, very large projects. I don't agree on this. I think waterfall is more suited. It's best suited for small projects because big projects, if you follow the waterfall model, flows sequentially, meaning that you get a big bang product launch at the end of the 5 years if it's a 5-year product. And you know what happens when you release something after 5 years. It's nothing like what you started with. The customer or the business, the people telling you to build a product. When they see the product after 5 years and they couldn't use the product for 5 years, that's not good at all. They realize that that's not what we wanted. And you might have to start all over again. Whereas Agile is an approach that prioritizes development through evolution. Cross-functional teams, self-organized teams working together, improving together, iterating together to continuously and frequently deliver valuable products to the customer. Same as what you can see on the screen right now. Requirements first, requirements gathering, then you move into system design, implementation, the testing, the delivery, the deployment, the maintenance, all these in sequential order. Agile is way more flexible than the waterfall model. It's in the name, it's Agile. And it's all about getting feedback from customers as early as possible. With Agile, we start with a concept and inception phase. We start with some customer research, market research. We find who our customers are. What do they need? What types of products do they want? Then we move directly into this construction phase where a self-organized cross-functional team works together. Building requirements, writing requirements, developing these requirements, testing, deploying to customers, getting feedback from customers, doing changes to the product. Everything is done together with a self-organized team, and the releases are done as soon as possible, as early as possible to get the feedback from customers. It's not sequential. Everything happens at the same time during the construction phase. Agile works best for projects which don't have a fixed deadline, for projects which don't have a fixed Scope. The scope is not known at the beginning of a project. The team needs to have access directly to customers. We need to get the feedback from customers. So the team needs to have access to the customers. The product the team is trying to develop, it needs to be a product that really handles well multiple iterations, multiple releases. We need to release as soon as possible, so there will be multiple releases. Teams that are allowed to work together, self-organized, self-managed without the bureaucracy of an organization. Now, let's have a look at the agile, waterfall, hybrid model. With a hybrid model, you start with a waterfall. Sequentially, you move through the requirements analysis. Once done, you move to the high-level design estimation. Once done, you move to the product backlog. You actually write the user stories, write the requirements. Then you move to the agile way of working. You start the actual development. The development team can work together in an agile way, iterative way, talking to customers, releasing frequently. You might consider using the hybrid agile waterfall approach if first your organization is transitioning full agile. It's hard to transition full agile. People have a waterfall model ingrained in their mind. They have been using that for years, for decades. It's hard to transition. But if you tell them that the project will have a fixed budget, a fixed deadline, you know exactly when to release it. You tell them to write the requirements, then move to design, estimation in a sequential order. Then you move that to the development team and you tell the development team to work in an agile way. That's possible. You're using the same hybrid model, starting with waterfall and then letting the development team work in an agile way while the business, the people who write the requirements, are still in the old mindset, waterfall mindset. And it will work. When the team has many dependencies, the team is dependent on many tons of other things happening around them to do their work, to deliver this product. So basically, fixed scope, fixed timeline, fixed budget. That's the waterfall part. When the team wants to deliver fast products to customers, the development team, if you add that agile part to a waterfall, you have a hybrid model. And it works extremely well because agile is more of it's not really an approach. It's more of a mindset you can only use if you want the mindset of agile. Always improving, inspection, adaptation, frequent releases, getting feedback from customers. So which method should you choose? Agile, waterfall, or the hybrid approach? How do you know? If at the beginning of a project you know exactly what to do, clear scope, clear budget, clear deadline, little to no influence from stakeholders, you don't need feedback from customers, you know exactly what to produce as a product, go for waterfall. If it's the other way around, at the beginning of a project, no clear budget, deadline, scope, you want constant feedback from customers so that you can develop the best product possible. Go with the agile approach. You want the best of both worlds, go for the hybrid approach. But in a nutshell, there's no clear path on what you should do. At the beginning of a project, you don't know, you lack information. The agile approach, as it's an approach, can be applied even if you're using the waterfall model because the development team can always be focusing and you may be using Scrum, maybe using Agile, this mindset of always be reflecting, always be adapting, always be improving. You can use that with a waterfall model, and that's the hybrid approach. So if your company is not ready yet for Agile, you still want to use a waterfall, you can use this hybrid approach. I highly recommend it. Using the waterfall model only, it's an old model. You need to upgrade, at least use the hybrid approach. If you can go full Agile, use it, because with full Agile, you are guaranteeing that you will produce the best possible product for a customer. And that's the goal at the end of the day, producing the best possible product for the customer. If you're still unsure, you can use these questions to know exactly which model you should be using. So what's the context of a project, of a product you're trying to develop, of a requirement set in stone? You know exactly what to develop. If yes, use the waterfall model. If no, use the agile approach or the hybrid approach. Will customers or external stakeholders have impact on what you're trying to produce? If yes, use agile or the hybrid approach. Is your team, everyone in the team, skilled enough to produce this product? The team can produce this product alone. If yes, the team is cross-functional and they are allowed to be self-organized, self-managed, use the agile approach. If you need other teams, dependencies, tons of dependencies, use the hybrid approach. What about the time frame and budget? Do you have a fixed budget, fixed scope, fixed deadline? There's a target date, you can't move it. Go waterfall or go for the hybrid approach. If you really want to produce the best product possible for a customer, go agile. I often see in organization using the waterfall model, they don't really care about releasing the best product possible. They just care about how do we get people to be more productive? How do we get people to work 24/7 to release by this date as fast as possible, then take another project as fast as possible without even getting feedback from customers. They don't care about that. For them, they want to release stuff to the market as fast as possible. That's not agile. In agile, we want to get feedback from customers as early as possible so that we can always be improving and working on the best product possible. And for this, the scope can be fixed because it's always changing depending on the feedback from customer. So if this is your requirement, if this is what your organization or your team or anyone wants to do, release the best product, go agile, or at least go for the hybrid model.